Episode 47, Lamar. Jiu Jitsu, starring
Oh
Nicolas
man,
Cage.
I think we saw more jujitsu in your hands than the actual movie jujitsu, but we'll talk about that. Yeah. Oh boy,
Well,
this.
we were excited for this. We trekked our asses to the theater we just to see this movie.
Yeah. Shout out to the Enzian. That was one of the movie theaters that was actually playing recent movies, and
Yeah.
this was the movie
One showing.
Jujitsu. One showing. Yeah. So, yeah.
What's it about, Lamar?
Give me a second. So,
We'll
okay.
try to be as spoiler free as possible.
Apparently, and I got my IMDb up here, every 6 years, an ancient order of jujitsu fighters battle a vicious race of alien invaders who apparently were the ones that taught us jujitsu, but then they always come every 6 years to challenge somebody. And if they don't challenge somebody, they just start killing a bunch of people.
Yep. And Nick Cage is in it, to be made.
Oh boy, is he ever. He shows up every, I would say, 15, 20 minutes and says crazy stuff.
Hearing that being more Nicolas Cage than he's ever been before in a lot of ways.
This isn't like hype Nicolas Cage. This is more weird Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
He's not doing a lot of yelling. He's more just very weird, I'll say.
Yeah, his performance is different, but it's like he's kind of in it. He does play does he play an important role, do you think? That's the thing. He is, but he isn't. It's like,
I mean, we can explain his character without like spoilers.
yeah.
So he was one of the challengers of the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But because of certain circumstances, he got to live, and he's still kind of around because he wants to, regain his honor.
He got to regain his honor. He's haunted by his interaction with the alien. So he feels the need to help. There's a group of people that are fighting this alien as well. And then the alien kind of comes and chooses the guy that he deems worthy.
Yes.
So Nicolas Cage feels the need to pass on his experience and his knowledge to that guy, who's played by the guy that we saw previous in the Kickboxer reboot movies.
Alain Moussi,
Yeah.
I think.
Captain Charisma, as I like to call him.
That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen, because, well, if you saw our live stream before with the two kickboxers he was in, flat. Very flat. He's great martial arts wise. Does great stunts. But when you actually have him say words in this movie, most of his dialogue, he's just asking questions about stuff. And they're like one word questions almost.
And I'm glad you brought that up with the martial arts, because the same director that did the reboots of Kickboxer did this movie. The thing I can say about this movie, Jiu Jitsu, is there are parts of this movie that are amazing. They're very great. And that usually is the fighting. Mm-hmm. He knows how to choreograph and film a fight scene where it's interesting. It looks like one take.
Yes.
The camera's getting passed around from like POV from one character to another. It's all great. That part of it is great. One thing about the fighting, though, is the movie's called Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of Jiu Jitsu in this movie.
Well, Joe, you know more about jiu-jitsu. I thought jiu-jitsu was more like grappling, getting somebody taken. That happens maybe 3 times in this movie, maybe.
I can't understand how they came up with this title and put it together with this movie. It's very unrelated. If you were to name this movie, what would you name it? Because jiu-jitsu does not explain this movie.
I don't know, like some cool, like made up alien name or something like Alien Fighter or something. But like they mentioned that the alien, going back to, what we're talking about, that they taught him jujitsu, but that's not like even brought back up as like, a main part. Like, like that would be cool. Like the fighter that he chooses is like a jujitsu master and he gets reeled in. No, not at all. It's it's a lot of swords. It's a lot of jump kicks. It's a lot of kickboxing because Tony Jaa is in it.
Yep, he's cool in it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, the alien doesn't even use jujitsu at any point. He doesn't even really use martial arts. He just uses brute force.
Yeah.
So very odd title. But like I said, the action sequences were a lot of fun. But as those good parts were good,
Yeah.
but the bad parts were awful, Lamar.
Nick Cage at least made it interesting.
He did.
Alain Moussi is just, he doesn't have, like you said, Captain Charisma. He's so flat. And it's like, and that's the weird thing, because we talked about it again, we talked about it before in Kickboxer. Like, you know, the original Kickboxer was, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
He had just kind of gotten, you know, to learn English. He has more charisma and everything like that. You identify with his character. With Alain Moussi in those two movies and this one, he's just like a blank slate. Like, he doesn't emote. No,
he doesn't. Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like the supporting characters are pretty good. You had like Frank Grillo, like you mentioned, and some of the other people. Like, everyone is doing their parts pretty well. Nick Cage he's interesting in the movie, and he actually, there were times in the theater where people were just busting out laughing, and it was usually something to do with Nicolas Cage.
Yes. It's an unintentional laughter, but
I mean,
he's at least interesting.
From the very first reveal of him, it garnered laughter from the audience. And there was, at one point, there's a big reveal in this movie, which we won't spoil, but you were the one that really started laughing first, and then the whole theater started laughing.
We don't want to spoil it, but it's one of those things where we keep on talking about like the action not meeting up with like the rest of the movie. That's where it like culminated, where this is just really goofy. Like, you'll know what we're talking about when you see this film. And that's the crazy part, is that this movie is so outlandish. It also did something weird. It had like comic book things going on for some reason. I don't know why they did that.
To break up the transitions from the sections of the movie.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing like, now we're in this location type of deal, they just had a comic book segue.
Establishing shots could have done this.
Yeah, so that was kind of weird, but yeah. I mean, overall, the actual premise is not the worst premise.
Right.
But the storytelling in this movie is pushed aside in favor of action scenes, good fight scenes, and trying to tell a story, but they never really, it wasn't done that well.
There's no connection to the main character. There's more of there's, like you said, the other characters are doing those characters are cool.
Yeah.
It would have maybe been better. Maybe they could have made like Frank Grillo, like, because he has more charisma. Right. He's not even in the movie that much.
Right.
But it's just like you don't have a connection to Alain Moussi, and if he's watching this, he probably hates us. But it's like, it's just, he's just so flat, and you don't. It got to a point where I didn't care really about the story. I like the fight scenes, but like his journey is just like, oh well, he seems like he can fight. I hope he wins.
Yeah. What would you rate this movie?
That's tough.
It is a tough one to rate. I've been thinking about it since we saw it.
It's like a 2.5 or a 3. And here's why. If they would have done kind of like the Wonder Woman thing with like Alain Moussi, like make him, I don't know, like an alien or something like that, and not give him that many lines or something, it could have been better. Make the story a little bit more, well, understandable. Nick Caged.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of give it a 3, because he was entertaining to watch. And the way, and the action, sometimes they did speed ramping, but the actual athletics of like a lot of the other people is really good. So that's a good part. But I will say, it's just with the story, it got to a part where it's just like, well, where's the next fight scene? Yeah. So this is, I say, like between a 2.5 and a 3. Like, skip through all the story crap and just watch the fight scenes. Yeah. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I was leaning like to Nicolas Cage is the reason why you watch this.
Yes.
He makes the movie fun, and then the fight scenes. Shit, man, I'll give it a 2.5. Just for that, it's like, yeah, watch it if you can. We saw it in the theater. I think it's on demand. It's $15. That might be a little steep, but if you can catch
steep,
it
Joe.
on the another streaming service down the line or something, it's definitely worth a watch because it is fun for what it is. It's a little bit long too for what it is.
Yeah. It's like, and that goes back to the story because you don't care because you don't know how to follow it. It's just okay. So here's what you do: if you get it free on the streaming service, go to all the fight scenes, and then on YouTube, hopefully someone cuts it up where they just show all the Nicolas Cage scenes and the big reveal that we won't spoil.
Yeah,
that's what you do. That's how you watch this movie. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you're a big Nicolas Cage fan, this is the movie for you. But for other people, this might be kind of a skip. I don't know. It's a tough one. This is a tough one.
It is a tough one. It was. What did you say it was? It was kind of like we had like Mortal Kombat, Predator, and what was another one that we said?
It's a cross between Mortal Kombat, Predator, and that's about it, right? Really?
Yeah.
And Kickboxer, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, style of it, yeah, definitely. So.
Yeah, it just is what it is. I don't know. It's like you have to get. You know what? This movie, it is better to watch with a group of people.
Yes.
Because it was definitely more entertaining being in a theater and everybody was kind of laughing at certain parts that were a little hokey and stuff. That was fun.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to watch this by myself.
I don't think I would have made it.
Yeah.
I think after a while, I would have just been like, okay, fight scene's done. I'll come back. I'll get a sandwich or something like that. Yeah. So.
Oh, boy. Well, that wraps this episode up of Jiu Jitsu. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for the future. We've got a lot of interviews with B-movie filmmakers, actors, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
Episode 47 of the Perfect Turd podcast. Jiu Jitsu. Peace.
Deuces.